So here's a question that catches most people off guard. If you die and your ex is listed on your life insurance policy, who gets the money? Most people assume that the divorce cancels it out, but a lot of the time it doesn't. Your ex will cash the check and there's nothing that your family can do about it. So why does this happen? Well, only the beneficiary form that you signed with the insurance provider that tells them who the money goes to, only that is taken into account when the money is discharged. Not your will, not your desires, not some paper that you may have written, who you wanted to get the money, none of that. The money will go to whoever is listed in that beneficiary form and only to that person. So your will does not override the beneficiary form. Some people think that the will will help. Not the case. The beneficiary form is the main one, and your life insurance will bypass the will. So if your ex's name is still on the form, the life insurance company is not going to be in the business of guessing your intentions. That money will go to them and not anybody else. So let's do an example. Let's say it's a man, 35 years old. He takes out a $500,000 policy while he's still married. He gets a divorce. Afterwards, life moves on. He remarries and he has a new baby. Now, you find out later on, he dies. And that $500,000 policy was never updated. So after he had the divorce, no new beneficiaries were listed. So now who gets the money? Well, guess what? Because he never touched that beneficiary form, the ex gets the full $500,000. His new wife and baby, they get nothing. So they are now essentially might go broke because of a mistake that could have been fixed within like 10 minutes. And a big problem is that the new wife and child, they can't do anything about that. They can't contest it because the beneficiary form overrides any will. So what do they do now? The only time you could have done something about it was right after the divorce happened, to have removed your ex as a beneficiary on your policy. Now, there are some states that after a divorce finalizes, the state will remove your ex from your policy. Now, the biggest thing is it's a trap. You shouldn't rely on this because even in those states, there are big exceptions to the rule. And quite honestly, you don't want to let your family's security and protection be dictated by the law and hope that the law will fix your mistake essentially on your paperwork, will update it for you. Another point that people miss, those who have a policy, a group policy through their work, well, the group policies through your work, they're usually dependent on federal law, not state law. So even though the state could change the beneficiary on your personal policy, the state will have nothing to do with your federal policy or your group policy that you have via your work. So in that scenario, if the same thing happens and you're still relying on the state law to help remove your ex from your life insurance policy, the same can't be said from your group work life insurance policy, and that policy will only pay out to whoever's on the form. Now, everybody's situation is a little different. If your divorce decree requires that you have to keep your ex as a beneficiary on your policy, usually because of, paying child support or alimony, then you can't remove them from that policy. So you have to keep that in mind before you go, removing them from every single paperwork that you have. If there was a court ruling that says you have to keep them on there, then you have to. But otherwise, if there's no court ruling, you have no kids with them or anything like that, then you really need to update your policies right away before anything happens. Otherwise, your money may be going to someone who you never intended to have that money in the first place. So definitely check with your divorce attorney before you remove your ex from every single paperwork. So if this video taught you something new, something you didn't know about life insurance, please give a like and subscribe. I'm here to answer all kinds of life insurance questions. If you have any, just put them down below. I'll make a video on it or I'll respond right away. Thanks so much for your time.